Completing clue scrolls has been a very popular activity in Old School RuneScape for many years. However, players sometimes experience frustrations while completing these treasure trails. What is wrong with clue scrolls? Let's find out. Good day everyone, my name is Vannaka and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about the current state of clue scrolls. I think everyone knows the concept of a clue scroll. You obtain a treasure map from a monster or a skilling action, you follow these steps, and at the end of the journey you might find a unique reward waiting for you. Sounds great, right? Absolutely. But it's not always as simple as it seems. Clue scrolls are fairly rare, and on top of that, you can only have one of each tier at a time. And specifically the latter can sometimes cause frustration for the players. And I can completely relate to that. Imagine you've just geared up for a Slayer task. You arrive at your destination, and on your very first kill, you receive a clue scroll. If you don't go and complete it immediately, you won't be able to obtain another one, unless you juggle clues, but I'll get to that later. So what do? Abandon your Slayer task to complete the clue? If you're unlucky, you might even have to go into the wilderness, meaning you have to bank all your items first. And this completely disrupts your grind. But choosing not to do the clue gives you that feeling of wasted opportunities, because who knows how many more clues you could have gotten. For quite a while now, there has been an ongoing discussion about the rules surrounding clues. Why doesn't Jagex just make them stackable so you can collect an unlimited amount of them? Looking back, we can see that over the years the rules around clue scrolls have already been tweaked here and there, because in the past you could really only have one clue at a time, but later this was changed so you could at least have one clue of each tier. And now that reward caskets have become stackable, you can at least save up rewards for exciting video montages. These were very welcome changes to clue hunting and made it a much more smooth experience, but stacking clues itself is still a bit controversial. Currently, when you drop a clue, it remains on the ground in all worlds for an hour. As long as a clue is on the ground, you can still receive more clues, you just can't pick them up simultaneously. So, in a way, it is already possible to obtain multiple clues, but with a workaround. But is this really ideal? I don't think so. So the last important step in making the clue hunt a smooth experience again hasn't been taken yet. At least, not in the main game. During leagues, players have already experienced what it's like to hold multiple clues at once, and this specifically raised the question of adding this feature to the main game. Of course, there are many pros and cons to making clues stackable. From a convenience perspective, making clues stackable would obviously be incredibly useful, but some do argue that juggling clues is simply a mechanic of the game that we should accept. And yes, that is one way to see it, but in my opinion, adding stackable clues would only be a quality of life update that removes the need for juggling clues. But the big question here is, what would be the consequences of stacking clue scrolls? Would this lead to many more players completing more clues, impacting the in-game economy? I guess it is possible we would see an increase in rare clue scroll items entering the game, such as third age items for example, but in reality that remains to be seen. Players can already stack thousands of caskets if they want, so if you want to manipulate the market, you can already open them up altogether. But let's be honest, third age items are so rare, I can't imagine this would have a significant impact on their value. And even if it did, it would still be very expensive. Having that said though, I don't see things in black and white and I would like to consider a middle ground. So how can we make the clue collection experience smoother without taking it too far? Now one option I thought of is to tie the ability to stack clue scrolls to the completion of combat achievements. For example, for each tier completed, you could be allowed to stack one additional clue scroll. So with 6 tiers in total, this would mean you could eventually hold up to 7 clue scrolls of the same tier at once. And if 7 is too many, maybe add one additional clue per 2 tiers, so you will cap at 4 in total. Even this will be a significant improvement over the current situation, giving enough flexibility for completing a Slayer task while collecting multiple clues. And at the same time, it prevents players from endlessly farming clue scrolls in one location. Another approach is to reward stacking based on clue scroll completion. For example, for every 100 clues of a specific tier, you unlock an additional clue slot up to a maximum of, let's say, 5. So by the time you have completed 500 clues, you would have reached the cap for that tier. But we could also take a completely different approach and introduce something entirely new. I always enjoy coming up with these crazy concepts, so how about a kind of clue device that you can feed clue scrolls into? So with this item, you could store clue steps creating one big clue, and once all the steps are completed, you receive extra reward rolls on a single clue reward, a kind of big clue casket. This idea ensures that you still only hold one clue at a time, but in the end, you complete multiple clues at once. But anyway, this is just a wild idea of mine. Alright, but let me now return to the topic of combat achievements for a second. I noticed that they have something very much in common with clue scrolls, except for one grand difference. As you know, combat achievements consist of 6 tiers: easy, medium and hard, and then Elite, Master, and Grandmaster. Now you probably see where I'm going with this. Clue Scrolls have only 5 tiers: Easy, Medium, Hard, Elite, and Master. And of course beginner clues, but let's forget about that. So my thought is, isn't it time for Grandmaster Clue Scrolls to make their way into the game? I mean, the current highest clue scroll type, Master Clues, were introduced in July 2016. That is almost 9 years ago, and there's still plenty of potential for even more challenging clues. Now, I could go into detail about every possible new clue step in this video, but that is probably a topic for another time. But just for comparison, a Master Clue currently requires stats such as 80 agility, 75 attack, or 72 cooking. These requirements are not bad, but there is still room to skill up, let's be honest. Instead of 80 agility for the Vannaka rooftop, a Grandmaster Clue could require something like complete 4 or 5 of the Hallowed Sepulchre, which requires 92 agility, for example. Or instead of 75 attack for a Godsword, how about 82 attack for a Fang from the Tombs of Amasket? Or cooking a Summer Pie at level 95 cooking. So I think designing fitting tasks for Grandmaster Clues is not the issue. But of course, a good question to ask here is, how would players obtain Grandmaster Clues? I mean, currently it's not even possible to receive a Master Clue from a direct source in the game. It must either come from another Clue Scroll reward, or by training all the lower tiers except for the beginner ones with Watson in Hosidius. So should Grandmaster Clues then come from Master Clues only? But that might only create a longer loop of getting clues within clues, which is not the best solution in my opinion. So if that is not it, what is? In all honesty, I don't have a good answer for that yet. I think it would be a bit strange for Grandmaster Clues to suddenly be obtainable from bosses when Master Clues aren't even acquired that way. But of course, it would be possible. Or what we can also do is try to apply one of my old ideas mentioned earlier in the video, introducing some sort of clue device that you can store steps into for a mega clue. But I haven't fully developed that idea yet, so that's for another time. But of course, we can't forget that a new tier also means new rewards, right? I mean, what could possibly be better than the 3rd Age pickaxe from a Master Clue? Maybe a 3rd Age harpoon, a 3rd Age Slayer helm kit, or 3rd Age boots? Getting new rewards is incredibly exciting, but it may also raise a controversial issue for players who have spent years trying to complete their collection log, because adding new rewards of this rarity would push them even further away from their goal. So careful consideration is needed for what Grandmaster Clues should offer as rewards, as we all know how time consuming it is to complete the collection log. I mean, nobody has fully done it before, so that's pretty insane. Either way, I think introducing Grandmaster Clue Scrolls would provide an exciting new challenge for players, especially since many players have reached higher levels over the years. It would be great to introduce a new endgame tier of Clue Scrolls. I think it's clear that even in 2025, Clue Scrolls have plenty of potential to become even more interesting in the future. So all in all, I would say that making clues partially stackable would be a great quality of life update, preventing constant interruptions while ensuring they can't be farmed indefinitely. And of course, while we're at it, why not introduce Grandmaster Clues to celebrate these new Clue Scroll changes? So that is all I got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Oh, and if you have a fun video idea, let me know in the comments and I might make a video about it. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.